All right, so good morning. My name is Linda McClellan, and I'm a compulsive eater and your leader for the meeting. Let's begin with the serenity prayer. God,
God,
grant me the
grant us
serenity
the serenity
to
accept
accept
the
the
things we
things
cannot
we
change,
cannot change,
courage to change
courage
the
to
things
change
we
the things
can,
we can,
and the
and the
wisdom to
wisdom to
know the
know the
difference.
difference. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the committee's connecting meeting for March 8th, 2026. I got that right? Okay. And it is noon Eastern. Let's get started. This meeting is a project of the Communication Committee, whose purpose is to facilitate communication and promote collaboration among the GreySheeters Anonymous membership, the World Service Conference Committees, and the Board of Trustees. It offers a chance for committees to present their resolutions and the proposals they may be preparing for the GSA World Service Conference in October this year. Please put your name, your email address, service positions, and your intergroup affiliation in the chat box. Video is optional, but if you are presenting or speaking, please turn your video on. I will need a timer for today. Each speaker gets 20 minutes. Anybody up for timing today?
I could do that, and it's Stacy, and I could put my video on in a minute, but I
Sure.
could do the timing.
All right.
Linda, sorry to interrupt. It's 10 minutes each.
It's what? 10 minutes?
10 minutes. Yep.
Oh, I thought, okay. Too bad.
No
10
problem.
minutes. All right. So today we have presentations by Archives, Communication, Conference, and Finance. And I apologize, but I don't know exactly who's presenting for everything. So, Steve, I assume you're doing Archives. Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'm on the head of the line, so I'll go first. I'm prepared. Thank you very much. My name is Steve. I'm definitely a grateful and abstinent member of GreySheeters Anonymous and serving as your current chair for the Archive Committee. I'm going to screen share. I prepared a presentation, and my committee member Dottie is here, and I'll let her jump in. So basically, I'm just going to give you a overview of what we've done since we presented last. I don't have to start from scratch. So how I do it is that I share our three storage spaces, how we store things. Our first in-person brick and mortar storage facility is in Garden City, New York, where we take all our files, all the memorabilia, everything that we own, and we put it in our storage facility. We pay for that. It's $40 a month. And we have things, we also store things in people's homes. So the second box is that I have tapes in my home, Dottie has documents, and the goal is to get everything digitized and put it on our Google Drive so that God forbid something happens to the storage facility or we move or, people's personal spaces are vulnerable, especially as we age and we rotate. So eventually everything that we own, in terms of documents and also images and audio recordings will be stored on our Google Drive so that they are preserved and also more easily accessible. So basically, our primary documents are our first things that we preserve, and Dottie, as the head archivist, is the one who takes care of scanning our paper. I don't know, Dottie, if you want to jump in and talk about a moment on how you do that or what that entails.
It's easy. I have all-in-one printer and I can scan. And now I have software that we were able to purchase where I can edit PDFs and remove personal information. For example, this email here we're looking at right now. Okay, I see only first names, which is good, unusual, but people are being very aware of their anonymity now. And okay, so this email would pass. And though many of the older documents, people had full names, business names, logos, things like that. And I see this letters to Lindy from KH. Actually, KH was the last secretary, or no, the only secretary of the board who gave me all her information afterwards. So I know it exists someplace, but I don't really receive donations often. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Dottie. Dottie is the one who's responsible for making sure that every sheet of paper, and we really appreciate other committee members, other chairs, that when you have documents, I mean, it was a little bit different prior to the pandemic, but now that everything is digital, we just want to make sure that we preserve everything, our records, our minutes. They're important archival information, if not today, 10, 20 years down and beyond. So every book, every pamphlet that the Literature Committee produces, we want copies of it, we preserve them. The other thing that we collect are actual physical archival artifacts. So our first acquisition was the quilt that one of our Cambridge GreySheet early members made. She was an artist, among other things, and we have that. It was purchased. Dottie got the acquisition started, and the fellowship reimbursed her. So we own that. The fellowship owns that blanket. And it's sort of like the old glory of our fellowship. So we also have a commemorative medallion. And again, that medallion is in the possession of a member, and I get an image of it. And what I'm hoping is that members bequeath or donate or just sort of make those objects available, even though if it may be somebody's personal property, they're part of our history and our heritage. So when I go to a retreat or roundup, I get the merchandise and we put those in a box. And Joey, if he wants to jump in, he is the one who really physically goes to the storage facility with the boxes, whatever artifacts we have. And Joey, do you want to take a moment to talk about that process?
Sure. Thank you for your service, Steve. My name is Joey, a compulsive eater, and I'm a member of the Archives Committee and also the treasurer. And we, as a treasurer, we maintain an approximate balance of where we are because we want to spend those. We want to get it done so that we could, able to get all the things that we need to facilitate, the archiving of all those materials, which Daddy and Steve had been doing so much. So what I do is all the physical stuff. Whenever Daddy comes in or anybody comes in, I'm the liaison to the storage place, which I'm actually supposed to be doing something there this week. Thank you for reminding me. And that's what I do.
Thank you very much. We have a lot of roundup recordings. I'm in the process of converting them digitally so that, and then when I do that, I take the batch up to Joey, the cassettes, and he puts them in a box and takes them to the storage. One of our most valuable artifacts is the actual corporate seal. It was in the possession of a prior chairperson, Mary B., who found it in her home. It is now in the possession of our current chair. Marvin has this. He made an impression of it. So what I suggested is that when we do have paper documents, that they be sealed to make them official. So being that committees and the board doesn't meet in person, I'm thinking that if Marvin has anything in his possession or if any other board member in New York City that you guys meet, that we use our corporate seal to impress it so that we have that. Like an official like the royal seal, of any official state document. And this is what our original seal looks like, although we use our digital one, but this is our corporate seal, how it looks in print. The other thing that we preserve are photographs and audio recordings of events. If you don't have a recording or a photograph, after the event is over, it's done, and you don't have anything except people's memories, which are perishable. So we like to preserve everything. So one of the things that I do as a photographer and videographer and documentarian is that I make sure that I physically go to any event that I can get to, and either myself or somebody else will just bring a clip or something so that we have something left over. And here you have the flyer that I designed for the 35th annual New York Roundup. And what I did was I connect the audio file. So as a keynote speaker, if becomes on our website, a person, and we have audio recordings that are already there, you could just click on a recording and hear one of the keynote panelists. So what I do is when I scan, when I digitize the audio recordings before I give them to Joey, I make, a organizational sheet so I know who spoke at which, what was the topic, which was the roundup. And eventually I would like to have this catalog so that a person can go and say, for instance, I'm looking at, I want to hear Kathy F. I click on it. So we have these things. It's great to have stuff, but it's also great to know what you have, where it is, and you can, if a member wanted to ask for permission to say, I want to listen to a recording from 1995, so they would fill out a form, just like you do in a library or the Census Bureau, if you want to hear a record, and it makes that available. In the future, I would like to see the archive committee produce its own products. One of the things that our parent, one of our parent organizations does is that the archive committee makes video DVD documents. They put out anniversary souvenir booklets that talk about fellowship. So one day I would like to see GreySheeters Anonymous have an actual history book and maybe even a documentary video that serves as a companion piece for the video. I would like to see the way AA does, to have, when you go to a roundup or a retreat or a conference, that you get a commemorative souvenir scrapbook. And then maybe once again, we can have an actual digital newsletter that has not just information, but stories, jokes, puzzles, um, sort of like the GreySheet version of Lifeline and Grapevine that AA and OA has. My other vision for the future of the Archives Committee is that one day in the far future, we have an actual brick and mortar central office, the way AA does on Riverside Drive in New York, where a person can come in and they can see our archive. It would be like a history museum where you can see the primary documents that we have. We should also, instead of having to pay an outside agency to store our stuff, we have our own in-house storage facility so that we don't have to pay somebody to look at our own possessions. It would have a archival research library where a person can come in and look at images and listen to recordings. The board can actually meet in person. And then lastly, it would have a gift shop where you can buy souvenirs. So if anybody wants to join, we promote our committee by this flyer, and we would like to increase our membership. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time.
All right, Joey, next is the Communications Committee. Are you presenting?
That would be the Finance Committee by Jen G.
Oh, you're not presenting today?
I am presenting, but you know what? I could do it now. Yes. And then Jen G, I believe she's around here too. Okay, so
Okay.
hello everyone. My name is Joey, and I am the chair for the Communications Committee. The vision of the strategic vision of the Communications Committee. In GreySheet, we often say that isolation is the enemy of recovery. Our committee serves as the central nervous system of this fellowship, ensuring that the message of recovery flows freely to those who have and to those who want it. What's our purpose? Okay, the purpose of Communications Committee is to facilitate communication and promote collaboration among the compulsive eater who still suffers, the GreySheeters Anonymous membership, the World Service Conference, committees and caucuses, and the General Service Board. And what's our mission? Our mission is simple, connection. That's why we have the connecting committees. Our committees connecting. We aren't just managing lists and accounts, we are building an infrastructure for miracles. By leveraging these specific channels, we ensure that no matter where a member is, physically or emotionally, they are only one click or one phone call away from the solution. Okay, so I put on this four first because there are other three things actually that belongs to the communications committee. We had the GreySheet podcast. The GreySheet podcast, I want to talk about the GreySheet podcast. Not everyone can make it to a 7 a.m. meeting. So the podcast provides, we're going to reopen it again. It's still in the website, a recovery on demand. It's a way to capture the profound wisdom of our long-timers and make it accessible to the mother in London, a traveler in the airport, or a newcomer who is too nervous to speak up in a meeting yet. It turns drive time or chore time into recovery time. Okay. The phone and area contact list. Next is our most traditional yet vital tool, the phone and the area contact list. We know that in 3-minute call can be a difference between a day in abstinence and a day in relapse. The committee's job is to ensure these lists are accurate, updated, and easily accessible. We treat the list as a living document of willing hearts ready to take a call at 2 a.m. if necessary. We also have the startup sponsors. Perhaps our most critical intervention is the startup sponsor program. We've all seen it. A newcomer walks in, wants the food, but doesn't know how to find a sponsor. They get lost in the shuffle. Our community helps identify and organize a rapid response team of sponsors who can bridge that 30-day gap. We provide the immediate hand holding that saves us lives during those first fragile days of weighing and measuring. Okay, next up is the internal Facebook account. Then we have our internal Facebook group. This is our digital living room. While we are strictly mindful of our traditions regarding anonymity, this private space allows for real-time community. It's where we celebrate milestones, share a quick of inspiration, reminded each other that even when we are physically alone, we are part of a massive global family. Next up is the quarterly traditions and concepts. These are the guide rails of our fellowship. The purpose is to have a monthly or quarterly focus on the 12 traditions, that's how the group functions, and the 12 concepts and how service is structured. Why do we do this? Communication is just news, isn't just news, it's education. Keeping the tradition and concepts front and center ensures the community stays aligned with this program's spiritual foundation. Next up is connecting communities, which are all you are now. We value your participation to this amazing um, service service. The communications committee is the connective tissue of our service structure. We don't work in a vacuum. We sit at the intersection of all other committees, and we appreciate your community serves and give us updates on a continuous basis. When the GreySheet committee has an update on the board, as an announcement, we are the megaphone that ensures that the message reaches out our GreySheet community. We turn community work into community knowledge. And lastly, if you have any questions that you would like, we could contact us to communications@greysheet.org. And I'm going to give it the next remaining 10 minutes, whatever we had to Grania, who's now our Grania. Could you say what is I think you are the welcome specialist or?
Welcome contact. It is a World Service Specialist position.
Okay, we just recently approved that, and thank you for being a part of our amazing group. So I'm gonna give it to you.
You're muted.
Sharing.
Thank you, Joey. I'm Grania, compulsive eater, and I am on the communication committee. That was so great, Joey. Thank you for covering the whole thing. And I'm going to speak a little bit about my role as the welcome contact. Here we go, hopefully. So the welcome contact is a role that Maggie and I worked on when Maggie was on the Board of Trustees. And we wrote up a job description, which was adopted, and we proposed to the World Service Conference that we create a World Service Specialist position called Welcome Contact. Up till that point, I had been doing it as chair of the Board of Trustees. And we didn't expect that all future chairs would want to serve in that role. So we wanted to split it out. So in 2025, it was adopted by the conference as a World Service Specialist position that reports to the Communication Committee. And essentially, the Welcome Contact receives emails that come into our sort of generic email address, GreySheet@greysheet.org, which is published on the website. And then we have a generic GreySheet phone number, a US phone number. It's a Google Voice number that the Welcome Contact gets those messages. The Welcome Contact also monitors the emails that come into the food plan at GreySheet.org, because that email was designed for intergroups to order copies of the GreySheet from World Services. But what happens is a lot of times newcomers email that email address saying, please send me a GreySheet so I can get started. So that we sort of funnel them to the welcome contact. And Maggie named the position welcome contact, and it's a great name. It's the point at which outsiders connect with GreySheet. So we want to extend a welcome to them. Primarily, the activity is on the email, coming in on emails. And so here is a very busy graph that shows you the number of emails that we receive to GreySheet@greysheet.org from non-members. So we do get members emailing that address with generic questions about the World Service or stuff in general, but they're not included in these numbers. So you see that we get about 15 to 20 emails a month from non-GreySheet members. It varies, but no particular pattern over the last 4 years. And we respond, most of them, almost exclusively, are people saying, I'm interested in starting or hearing more, or I have questions. So the conference was clear that we should encourage them first to go to meetings. So the response that they get is a standard response that says, welcome to GreySheet. We're so glad you found us. If you have any questions at all, call this number. But the best way to get started is to go to a meeting. And then it gives information about how to go to meetings. And then it ends up with saying, if you have any questions at all, call us. The majority of them never call. So I think it's a really great sort of screening that if somebody is really ready to start GreySheet, they're going to be willing to pick up the phone. And if they're not willing to pick up the phone, they're probably not really ready to get abstinent. So that's the emails. Then we have phone calls coming in every month. The number of phone calls coming in from non-members has increased, but we don't answer that number directly. So when somebody calls, they always go to voicemail.
That's
And that is
time.
total time?
Total times 10 minutes, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that it?
That was 10 minutes for you and Joey combined. Is that right?
I don't know. Linda, Joey, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, let me just finish this slide and then I'll close. Thanks, Stacy. Sorry for that. So our name is GreySheet, and we have a website, GreySheet.org. But there is a newsletter for coin collectors, which is at a website called GreySheet.com. So we get 150 calls a year from coin collectors who want to change their subscription for the newsletter. So we have on the voicemail, it says, you've reached GreySheet.org, a 12-step fellowship for food addicts. This is not GreySheet.com, the coin collectors. And then they hang up. So these are the hang-ups. We get lots of hang-ups. And then we get lots of calls. And if there's more time later on, I can talk about how we handle the calls. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I'm on the board of trustees. I'm Jen. I do what you all do. So I'll be kind of brief. Unfortunately, I locked myself out of my computer this morning, and I'm waiting for IT probably Monday morning to unlock my computer. So I'm a little unprepared, so I apologize in advance for that. But I did be able to suss some things out through email. So our 2026 budget is $24,000. In January, we got just over 10%. We got 2.7 thousand. So $2,000. Then we have about under 200,000 in our backup. So you're probably like, well, finance, why would we need all that money? Well, first off, we are a non-for-profit. So we, have some expenses related to just being a business, like having lawyers and all that stuff on board. We also, our budget is made up of the things we want to do. So all these committees submit a budget to the treasurer, and typically the committee would then approve it and review it, and it goes out. and that's our goal for the year. And then each month, bills that come in or donations that get made are handled by our wonderful bookkeeper, Joyce. And she does an amazing job keeping all the finances in order. And, so you might get emails from her. And then Amy C is so happy to say is our finance, sorry, my brain's very blanking. She's not the chair. The treasurer. Thank you. I'm out of sorts today. I locked myself out of my house this first thing this morning, and then I locked my computer. So I'm just like all out of sorts. Anywho, but all good. Don't eat no matter what. Yeah, so we're still trying to we don't have a chair right now for the finance committee. So if anyone's interested, reach out. Yeah, I'll be brief. So whatever that word is, I succeed the rest of my time to Grania if you want to keep going. Thanks.
Thank you, Jen. That was great. Good luck with your computer. All right. So next is the conference committee, right?
Yeah, the conference committee, I emailed them and they said that they're gonna try it. And Margie's and if they're not here, which I don't think they are, we're gonna set time for them on our next communications committee, connecting committees.
Okay.
So we
you
will be able to give
let
time to
Grania go?
Grania. Yep.
All right, Grania, why don't you finish?
How many minutes do we want to do?
We have a lot of times because we ran out of
I have
well,
2 slides.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do 5 minutes.
Okay. You all know that I can talk, so just stop me when you've had enough. So this is the number of newcomers contacting GreySheeters Anonymous each year in total through the various emails and phone calls. And so it's a lot. The job of welcome contact is so important because it is our first point of contact. It is the first, other than the website, it's the way people get an impression of our fellowship. And there are a lot of people reaching out to us. I have to say that only about 10% of them follow through in any way that I can discern. So if they email, they don't necessarily call. And if they call, they don't necessarily call back. If I leave them a message, they don't necessarily call back. If I give them meeting information and I don't see them in meetings or ever hear of them again, but at least 10% of them do. And some of you are here. So I have some people who are actively involved in service and long-term GreySheeters started out by calling or emailing us. So it's a critical position, and I definitely want to share it with somebody else. You could be answering some of these calls or responding to some of these calls and some of these emails, because I think it's not safe for us. If I get hit by a bus, nobody has the phone number, the Google information and the access to the web. It'll be a scramble if I get hit by a bus and we need someone to pick it up. And the one thing that is critical, I think, is that we respond quickly to these messages. So the job description calls for responding within 24 hours, and I do. And it would be great if we had a backup and then a new person taking over. So this is interesting, the number of calls from non-members per month over the last 4 years. It started out really high and dropped off, and it seems to be decreasing. And I'm not sure why. If you look at 2025 and 2024, the gray and the yellow, they're the lowest numbers on there. I don't know, but we still do get calls and we still need somebody at the other end of the phone. And even if it is only 10% of the people that follow through, it is thrilling to be the person who speaks to a desperate compulsive eater the first time and then sees them show up in meetings and sees them show up as chair of a committee 5 years later or on the board. And it is just as big, that Bill said in the big book, it's not an experience you won't want to miss. So if you or someone you know needs a service position, this would be a great one, because I'm here now to help people get started in the service position and slowly take it over at their own pace. But it is the most, it's the most vital thing we do, carry the message to the people who are looking for an answer. Does anybody have any questions about the role or the workload?
Stephanie,
Stephanie.
go ahead.
I'm just curious. I just recently attended my first meeting with the, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name of it. I think it's called Public
Information Committee?
Public Information. And I feel like we should be working, or because some of these charts are really revealing about, I'm concerned about the drop off. And I wonder if and I know we're very newly formed. We don't have a chairperson yet. But I feel like there should be some coordination between your committee and this committee. And we could benefit from it. Or maybe the scope is totally different. Again, I'm kind of a newbie. So I'm just curious about how the committees interact when it seems like some of it, there's a crossover.
It's a great question. You brought up two things, Stephanie. So one is that the original vision for the Welcome Contact was that it was a service provided by the Public Information Committee. Thank you, Stacy. And since there wasn't a Public Information Committee, the Communication Committee agreed to take on responsibility for the service. But you're definitely right. If it doesn't go back to public information once your committee is up and running, it surely should be collaborative.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Grania. Thank you for your question, Stephanie. Are there any other questions for any of the presenters today? Okay, Marvin, Stacy, do you guys have any announcements from the board that you'd like to drop on us?
I have one, but I'll defer to Marvin if he has some first, and then I can pick it up.
No, right now I didn't even remember it was a meeting. I called someone. They said, "Marv, it's I said, "Oh, what the hell?" And I came on to the meeting, so I'm all over the place in my head. So I don't have any questions now. I just love the presentations and stuff like that. And then the young lady just spoke after Grania. I was going to ask the same question, where that connects to and why the drop off in the gray and stuff like that. But that's all the main thing.
Okay. So I have a couple of announcements. One, the Board of Trustees elected Dahlia R. as a new trustee. So we're really grateful for that. And she is the liaison from the Board of Trustees to the La Comunidad Hispana intergroup. And I also wanted to mention that the town hall for April, the Board of Trustees voted to change the date of the town hall from the 26th of April to May 3rd. And that was to accommodate the Connecticut retreat. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, any other questions, comments, thoughts? Grania, go ahead.
Thank you, Linda. Directly to Dottie and Steve, that commemorative coin that you had in the slides is from the early in-person World Service conferences. And I know I sent mine when I left the United States to Dottie in a box. So hopefully it's still in there and didn't slide out. And I think throwing it out to the to the Archives Committee, that one thing we have never done is reconstruct the board members since our initial first board was formed and has evolved over the years. We don't have one place that lists all the board members that have served since 1998. And I would imagine that if we could just start by getting their names, then we could reach out to them, that they would have mementos and documents, because as you say, prior to the pandemic, and long before prior to 2013, it was all hard copy, and all those people still have that stuff in their garages and their attics and their back bedrooms. So I'd say our first step is to get a list of names of all the people who've served on the board over the years since 1998 and start contacting them.
Thank you, Grania. Steve, go ahead.
Grania, it is absolutely spooky that you should say this, because just a couple of days ago, Theda contacted me for the purposes of the nomination committee for just that thing. And as an archivist, I think it would be absolutely awesome for us to have, and I'm already thinking of creating a catalog, not just with a list of the people who were on the board from 1998 up until the present day, but a little short service bio next to their name, possibly an image so that people know what they look like, because again, our parent programs do this. You know, and it's amazing that some of these original members, and I'm not going to mention any names, but you know who he is, are still with us. So and also maybe to have a clip of them speaking. So the response to your idea is yes, 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 yes. You know, thank you.
Thank you. Dottie, go ahead.
Dottie, compulsive eater. And to add on to that, I've been following the best practices of archiving, which keeps things in the order that people give them to me, and which makes organizing much harder, because I have, I do have the coin you sent me. Don't ask me where it is. I could look at the list under your name. It's a folder with your name on it. But it's, this stuff is still not, I still need to go through everything before I start organizing it. And it's a big job. I got 48 folders in the working side of the archive, and then I have the finished side, which is very sparse. And that's why we're going so slow. And I have been looking. I have another one that I just took a screenshot of that I'm going to send to Steve, because we don't know where all these lists are. I just stumble upon them, and that's it.
Thank you very much, Dottie. Stacy, go ahead.
I have a question, and if Steve mentioned it, I'm so sorry, and it was such a great presentation. Do you keep are things kept in a fire safe safe? And I'm just asking, because we had these huge fires in California, and so now for our own home, we have a big safe that is up to 1700 degrees. So there's water and fireproof safes. That's the only thing. And if we don't keep it there, that may be like a purchase that would be appropriate.
Again, I think it's a great idea. The question would be whose house it would be in, where it would be right now. You know, like I said, Dottie, most of the files are in Dottie's home, so if we were to purchase that, it would be in her home. But again, people are perishable, so even if the documents survive, so it's something that we would have to explore and move forward on. But I think it's a great suggestion because these papers are irreplaceable. Okay, and they're more, I hate to say it, but paper is more important than people. People come and go, but our records, our history, our heritage, those are for our future generations of members. So yes, we have to find a way, and this is why my vision, and I hope there's a realtor or somebody who know how to get us to acquire an office, where regardless of who the board was or who the officers were, that it be a corporate location that we have all this stuff in.
Dottie, your hand is still up?
Yes, I just raised it because I have no more paper in my home. Everything has been scanned, sent to the archives, storage quarters, stores, medical information, paper. Everything has to be in a banker's box, and they have fire suppression systems. And you know, it's as safe as it can be, considering it's a storage facility of all paper. And I have a large box in my closet of things that do not, they would be folded if put in a banker's box. They won't take anything larger than that at this moment, which is frustrating because we have the room for 104 boxes. That's what the $40 pays for, and we have under 20 right now. And so it's they're protected as best we can at the moment. Everything is scanned, and the idea is to have multiple copies of everything. So that's, you know, there is a protection on them, and having a fireproof, we don't have anything large enough to hold 19, 18 boxes of documents. And you know, that's a good size. So I stop.
Thank you, Dottie. Joey.
Thanks. That's a good question, Stacy. And I went to the website of our storage quarters, and it says there that storage quarters, which is located in Garden City, is a facility that's fully fired, sprinkled, and monitored 24/7 for fire and security. So I think that answers, is it? Or does it needs to be more specific that it's fireproof? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Joy. Grania.
Thanks, Linda. Also a question that I should remember the answer, because Dottie, when you started the digital Google Drive for our archives, you were paying for it, and we went through a process of transferring ownership of that to World Services, and World Services is paying for it now. Is that correct, or am I no?
No.
Tell me what's happening.
Joey, I still have the Google Drive. Joey, not all the documents, but they became the property of GSAWS, but they're still in my Google Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe GSAWS has a copy of it. I don't really, I don't want to play with that because I don't know. But I did find out from your new board member, Katie, with her business. She told me how to transfer ownership from me to, she did it with her employees. They had Google Drives that really belonged in her business, and she was able to transfer it. So I'm gonna have to bother Joey and add the archives.org address as an owner, and then have Steve remove me as the owner. Then I think you would be, GSAWS would be, and we need to do it soon because the bill's going to come in rather quickly. I think April, I'm not sure.
So all the GSAWS digital subscriptions are in the name of president at GreySheet.org, and the treasurer has access, and the treasurer pays the bills. But they're all like Wordly and Zoom and all of those. Well, not Zoom because that's historical from much older, but all of our subscriptions are in the name of president at GreySheet.org. So they belong to GSAWS.
So I would change it to, or add president of GSAWS. That would mean you get the bill. Okay.
Yeah. So you'd have to work with the treasurer, probably with Joyce, because she's done it with other things like our Adobe and our Microsoft accounts. She transferred ownership from individuals to the corporation.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
Thank you both. Any other comments? I wanted to point out, I put the donation information in the chat, which Joey put in earlier, but I thought it bore repeating. We are self-supporting through our own contributions, and There are no dues or fees for GreySheet membership. So, any other comments, questions?
I just wanna, hey, Linda, it's Joey again. I just want to remind that the upcoming Committees Connecting, which is on June, we're gonna have the literature, the public information, and the structure. And I guess we could put on the conference too, since hopefully we have the public information on June, but if not, we will squeeze the conference committee for that one. And also,
Okay.
last one, the next tradition and concepts would be on May 17. We're going to talk about traditions and concepts 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's it. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Joey. Be there or be square. It's a good meeting. All right. Any other information? Then thank you all for being here, and we will end the meeting a bit early. So let's close with the serenity prayer. God grant us the serenity
Serenity
to accept the
accept the
things we
things that I
cannot
cannot
change,
change,
the courage
Courage
to
to
change
to
the
change
things
the
I
things
can,
I can,
and wisdom to
wisdom to
know the
know the
difference.
difference.
Keep coming
Thank you,
back,
Linda.
everybody.